Hey everyone, I've drawn the troll face before, but you asked for a slow motion video tutorial with a commentary, and you wanted me to draw it by a line of symmetry. I'm going to draw it today in a simple graph notebook, just like in the good old school days. You can use any straight line in this notebook as your line of symmetry. I'll start with the nose, symmetrically, on left and right sides. Feel free to follow along in your notebooks. I'm not too worried about making mistakes since the whole drawing is made up of small strokes. So if I mess up somewhere, I can just fix it with new strokes later. I'm not filling in large areas right now. I'm just lightly sketching where the shaded parts will be. I'm doing this to avoid smudging the drawing and wasting time before I have the overall picture. See, I'm coloring around the pupil now, but I'm not doing a great job. I'll fill it in completely later once the main outline is finished. Sorry for the focus, it's a bit off there. I guess I forgot to lock it in. And look, my cat has come to watch us draw. Alright, let's get back to our troll face. Here my hand slipped again, and now this line is a bit crooked. No big deal. We can just fix the outline with a few extra lines. I'm about to make another little mistake. The left and right sides of the face aren't quite symmetrical. But don't worry, we can clean that up too. Ideally, you should sketch everything out with a pencil first, and only then start inking once you're happy with the placement of everything. That way, you're less likely to make mistakes. But whenever I do a pencil sketch and then ink it, people tend to lose interest. I guess pencil sketches are just too subtle and boring for them. Anyway, let's move on to the teeth and the whole mouth area. By the way, it's really important when you're inking to avoid smudging. I'm not the best at it, and I always end up smudging the paper a little bit. That's one reason why I don't add a lot of layers or color in large areas right away. I want to avoid smudging the ink later on. I prefer to add a lot of layers and ink in the very last step. Let's add some shadows and wrinkles with simple strokes. Again, I'm not pressing too hard, so I can darken certain areas later if I need to. For now, I'm just adding some light hatching. I often see artists online who draw every part of a picture perfectly right from the start. But in reality, most artists draw almost the entire picture and then gradually add details. I recommend you do the same. Sure, it looks impressive when you start with a perfectly drawn eye and then gradually zoom out. But it's really inconvenient to draw that way, and you're more likely to make mistakes. So most artists draw the whole picture at once and then gradually add details. Our face is starting to take shape now, so I'm going to gradually add some volume, shading, and details. If I think a certain area needs to be darker, it's easy to do. Since I didn't use a lot of ink in the first layers, I can easily darken the eye. It should be noticeably darker here. So I'll just add a second layer. See, there's the volume again. Let's darken the corners of the eyes a little too. I'm going back to the mouth, and at some point it's going to be really dark. But for now, I'm just adding the basic proportions and details without going into too much depth. At this stage, the picture looks a bit messy and unfinished, but that's okay. It will gradually become more complete. It's tempting to dive right in and make every little detail perfect, but you have to resist that urge and focus on building up the overall form first, and then add the finer details later. I used to get stuck on this a lot when I was a kid. I'd always start hyper-focusing on one tiny detail and end up never finishing the whole picture. I'd have one part that was incredibly detailed, and the rest of the picture would be all crooked and unfinished. Now my drawing is looking pretty complete, so we can start filling in the blanks, shading, and tweaking the proportions. When you're inking, it's really important not to press too hard, especially on cheap, soft paper. You risk damaging the paper and ruining the whole drawing. So let's gently and calmly start filling it all in. Here you can see again that my headlines aren't perfectly symmetrical, but I can easily fix that with a few extra strokes. I'll fill in the areas that need to be completely black at the very end. For the solid black areas, I'm going to switch to a different pen that's better for that. And I'll gradually fill in all the parts that should be completely black. The areas that aren't in the deepest part of the head will stay lightly shaded. This gives it depth and volume. In total, this drawing took me about 40 minutes. Well, there you have it. Our troll face is finished. I hope you're happy with your drawing too. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment and you'll see a playlist of our troll face drawings on the left and YouTube's suggestions for you on the right. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Bye.